Pio Gama Pinto. To many Kenyans, especially the new generations, know little about Pio Gama Pinto. And for those who know him, albeit the few, do not know the role he played in the history of the Kenyan independence. A question may be asked, who was Pio Gama Pinto? Pio Gama Pinto was a Kenyan of Asian origin, born in March 31st, 1927. He was a politician, a journalist, and a freedom fighter. And upon his death on the 24th of February 1965, just having lived only 38 years, was considered the first political martyr in Kenya. In the date, month, and year stated earlier, Gama Pinto was born in Nairobi, Kenya. His parents were Kenyan of Asian origin and were of the Goan Catholic descent. Goa was a province in India when the Indians were under the colonial leadership of the Portuguese. Pinto started his education aged 8 years and spent 9 years in Goa. Pinto was tipped to have passed his examination at St. Joseph's High School in Arpora. He later joined Karnataka College in Dharwad, where he studied science for 2 years before joining the Royal India Air Force in 1944 as an engineer ground apprentice. His first employment was at the Post and Telegram Office in Bombay. His first political engagement in nature was his participation in a general strike and being founder member of the Goa National Congress, aimed at liberating the Goa from the Portuguese colonial leadership and occupation of Goa. In order to avoid arrest in Goa, Pinto returned to Kenya. Had he been arrested in India by the Portuguese, he would have been deported to Tarrafal concentration camp in Cape Verde. Life. Pinto close acquaintances referred him.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and
make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no.
His constant communication is evidenced by letters written between the 10th of March 1952 and 26th January 1953, especially to a British Member of Parliament known as Fanna Brockway. In these letters, he addressed issues affecting East African Indians, colonial mistreatments in Kenya, and the need for consolidation of efforts in Africa to fight for independence. His greatest agitation was for the recovery of African land. Since most of the leaders had been arrested, Gama Pinto resigned from his job at the Daily Chronicles and for about 3 months read through the Carter Commission report, a report on land issues in Kenya. In addition to other documents, took statements from Kikuyu elders and consequently wrote and typed a 200-page Kikuyu Tribes Memorandum that was sent to Kenyatta in Lodwar for transmission to the Royal Commission on Land in London. In 1960, during the first Lancaster House Conference, Gama Pinto helped in the formation of the Kenyan Freedom Party, where he worked as the Assistant Secretary until it was dissolved when Kenya African National Union (KANU) allowed non-Africans to join. During the continued agitation for freedom, the colonial government launched Operation Anvil on the 24th of April 1954 to counter the agitations. By the time, Pinto was the editor-in-chief of the pro-Mau Mau paper known as the High Command. In June of the same year, Pinto was arrested and imprisoned in Manda Island without trial, where he spent 4 years with other Mau Mau detainees. Pinto was later restricted in Cabernet between early 1958 and October 1959. Pio Gama Pinto was the only Indian arrested in Kenya for fighting for Kenya independence. As Kenyan independence was imminent, Pio Gama Pinto focused his struggle efforts on India. In 1960, he formed the East African Goa League. As a result of this formed league, Pandit Nehru was convinced to organize an international seminar on Portuguese colonies. The seminar was subsequently followed by a conference on Goa in New Delhi, where the Secretary General of KANU, Dr. Tom Mboya, delivered an eloquent speech. More international seminars attended by prominent figures like Zambia's Kenneth Kaunda, Nsilo Swai, and Pio Gama Pinto stirred up the agitation for Goa liberation. Consequently, After a few months later, Goa was liberated by the Indian Army. This allowed Pinto to travel to New Delhi to discuss Goa with the Indian government and request Nehru for assistance to start a nationalist newspaper in Kenya. He subsequently secured funds to begin Pan-African Press Limited, the publisher of Sauti ya Mwafrika, Pan-Africa and Nyanza Times. Pio Gama Pinto's successes in Kenya and Goa allowed him to shift his attention elsewhere. From 1962, his attention shifted to Mozambique, which was still under the colonial rule of the Portuguese. He collaborated with Chokwe and formed the Mozambique African National Union in Mombasa. The union was later banned by the British government. Pinto worked closely with Frelimo and the Organization of African Union OAU Committee of 9 members. He made frequent visits to Tanzania and had intended to resign from parliament and move to either Mtwara or Lindi to assist the fighters actively. In his short life, Pio Gama Pinto's role in the struggle for Kenyan independence accorded him the right to be elected as a member of the Central Legislative Assembly in 1963, specialty elected member of the House of Representatives in 1964, and worked to establish the Lumumba Institute in 1964 to train KANU party officials. In matters trade union, Pinto collaborated with the nationalist Mahan Singh, Chege Kubachi, Fred Kubai, and Agri Minya to form the East African Trade Union. In addition, he assisted the long-serving Deputy Secretary of Central Organization of Trade Union, KOTU, Mr. Dennis Akumu, regain a relationship with Brother John Tedega of Ghana Trade Union Congress, which enabled him to be elected as the Secretary General of the All African Trade Unions Federation. Pio Gama Pinto family life. Antonio Rodolfo Jose Pio Gama Pinto was born on 31st March 1927. Pio, together with his sister Sevin and brother Rosario, were born in Nyeri and educated in India. His father, Antonio Felipe da Gama Pinto, and mother, Emma Ribeiro, had migrated from Portuguese-ruled Goa to Kenya, where his father worked as a civil servant in British colonial government. Pio's marriage, family life was typical of all freedom fighters and politicians of his time. Pinto was married to Emma Diaz. Emma Diaz was counted to be a very beautiful lady. She was described with elegance as shoulders set with assurance, face framed by strong straight brows, and a soft but deliberate smile. She had a good head on her shoulder. She was whip smart, and she stood her ground. She was not only beautiful, but also an intelligent woman. Emma Diaz had flown from India to visit her twin sister Joyce, who had just married a Goan man working in the Kenyan civil service. Since Pio's family was one of the well-known Goan families, inquiries were made about Emma and the possibilities of her meeting Pio Gama Pinto. Anton Felipe da Gama Pinto was eager for his son Pio to meet her. he was getting worried about Pio's political activities. Goans were whispering that Pio was a Mau Mau, that he was a communist, that he was, in hushed, scandalized tones, politically active. Anton Felipe da Gama Pinto believed that marriage would settle his son. So inquiries were made, arrangements followed, and one day in Nairobi, Emma met Pio. Pio and Emma were engaged in October 1953, and within 3 months that Emma had on her visitor's visa to Kenya, 9th January 1954, she had become Emma Gama Pinto. The two had their honeymoon in Jinja, Uganda. Once they returned to Nairobi, Emma realized that Pinto would remain true to his word. Their life was not comfortable. They lived in a bed-sitter in the courtyard of a friend's house. The 4-foot by 4-foot kitchen had only a single burner stove. The toilet was a hole in the ground. Pio and Emma Gama Pinto were blessed with 3 daughters, Linda, Malusha, and Tereshka. 5 months after his marriage to Emma, he was rounded up in the notorious Operation Anvil and arrested. Pio Gama Pinto demise. Pio Gama Pinto was assassinated on the 24th of February 1965 in broad daylight at Westlands neighborhood of Parklands in Nairobi by being shot at close range by 3 assailants while waiting in the driveway for the gate to be opened. At the time of the shooting, he was with his elder daughter, Linda Gama Pinto, who was 6 years old. 3 persons were arrested in connection to his assassination. The 3 were Kisilu Mutua and Chege, who were believed to be part of the 3 assailants, and Ochola Mac-Ayengo, who was believed to be the financier. The reasons for his assassination is shrouded in mystery. According to Kisilu Mutua, who was one of the accused, who was committed to death sentence, stated that one by the name Ochola Mac-Ayengo, the Secretary General of the Kenya Pipeline Oil Workers Union, hired them to frighten Pinto from interfering with the union's affair. Later on, Mac-Ayengo was released and Chege acquitted. Another theory assumes that Pio Gama Pinto was assassinated for allegedly engaging the then President Kenyatta in a shouting match over sessional paper number 10, which virtually legalized capitalism in Kenya. Remember, Pio Gama Pinto was a socialist. Therefore, he was against any form of capitalism tendencies. According to records by Shiraz Durrani, he maintained that Pio's death was initiated by capitalists in Kenya and the imperialists who were still managing the newly independent Kenya, to whom Pio was a threat. Kisilu's death sentence was reduced to life imprisonment upon lodging an appeal, but was later pardoned by the late President Daniel Arap Moi in 2001 after serving that 5 years in prison. Upon his release and until his death on the 3rd September 2023, Kisilu Mutua maintained his innocence and insisted that he was used as a scapegoat. In conclusion, and to answer the question, who was Pio Gama Pinto, we can say that he was a devoted socialist, politician, and freedom fighter who shaped the liberation of not only Kenya but also Goa. He played an important role in formation of trade unions in Africa and encouraged Pan-Africanism. He was the only Indian arrested and jailed for fighting for Kenya's independence, and was the first politician to be assassinated in post-colonial Kenya. Pio Gama Pinto will forever be remembered as the Indian activist who became a Kenyan freedom fighter.